Reports of Israeli airstrikes hitting near hospitals in northern Gaza, including the enclave's biggest medical facility. The Palestinian Health Ministry says it's completely unable to evacuate the hospitals. That's despite Israel's latest pledge to open daily 4-hour humanitarian pauses to allow civilians to flee south. This girl seen crying among the dead after airstrikes hit tents near El Shifa's hospital's outpatient department. Our Palestinian health authorities say more than a dozen people have been killed, including children, and dozens more injured. The bombings also wounded medical staff and damaged ambulances. Displaced people have been camping outside the facility. The IDF has previously said that Hamas militants were hiding in the hospitals, but the group has denied such accusations. The World Health Organization says its staff have reported intense violence around El Shifa, while other facilities like the Indonesian and El Quds hospitals have reported airstrikes hitting close to them in the last 24 hours. The WHO says 20 hospitals around Gaza are completely out of action. The rest are only partially functional. Meanwhile, Israel has opened an evacuation corridor for residents in northern Gaza to flee south. Tel Aviv says the 7-hour window will be opened from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. local time. Tens of thousands have fled their homes in the past week as fighting in the north becomes fiercer. But the head of hospitals in Gaza says no patients have been transferred to the Rafah crossing today due to Israeli airstrikes. For more, Sarah Coates joins us live from Tel Aviv. Sarah, we just heard the reports that no patients have been able to evacuate out of Gaza via the Rafah crossing. That's because of Israeli shelling. Also reports of problems with aid actually entering the Strip. What can you tell us?
Hello there, Wei Su. Well, look, that remains unclear at this hour. This crossing, though, has been closed intermittently over the past few weeks, on and off, letting more aid in and letting more injured people and also foreign nationals out. Now, there have been a number of security incidents down in the south near that border crossing over the last few days. It was shut for most of the day 2 days ago, with the IDF saying this was due to an unknown security incident. Now, we do need to remember that these trucks have to be thoroughly inspected before they come in from Egypt into the Gaza Strip, due to the fact that they potentially may be carrying things like fuel, which Israel has banned, saying that it would be used by Hamas. So we don't have any kind of confirmation on how many trucks have come through today, but we do know that around 100 trucks made it through the Rafah crossing, although to put this into perspective, that is what aid groups are calling a drop in the ocean, given that on a normal day, around 500 trucks come through that crossing. Now, we have heard some comments on this from the Turkish President Erdogan. He's just spoken to Secretary of State Blinken, pushing him to ask Israel to let more trucks in. He says these 500 are needed every single day. While Turkey's also announced it is right now preparing a ship which will act as a field hospital, really following there in the footsteps of that announcement from Italy, that it would be sending the same.
It's not just aid coming in. Israel also saying it has opened another corridor for Gazans to evacuate south. But these pauses criticised by UN agencies, they say they lack coordination. How successful can they be? And will Tel Aviv commit to these pauses every day?
Well, look, that's what was announced by the White House last night, Thursday night. It still has been pretty unclear as to how this would happen on the ground and what has been happening on the ground. But in terms of this corridor from people to move from the north to the south of the Gaza Strip, that 4-hour corridor was announced a little earlier today, 9 a.m. local time, 10 a.m. rather, I should say, until 2 p.m. It is now 2 p.m. local time here. We were seeing pictures coming in of Palestinians who remain in the north of the Strip moving south, once again, hands in the air, waving white flags, as heavy battles are really raging deep inside Gaza City. As you mentioned in that lead there are reports of Israeli tanks surrounding a number of hospitals in Gaza City. And look, aid groups are slamming the humanitarian situation in the north. They say that people are too afraid to leave their homes, while the IDF says it does not want to harm civilians and it is giving them these corridors. So look, it's yet to be seen whether they are implemented every day, but today is the 6th consecutive day that the IDF has announced there would be safe passage for people to move from the north to the south, and they say hundreds of thousands have already done so.
Thanks. That's Sarah Courts there for us in Tel Aviv.